Hello coaches and welcome to this edition of Give and Go Live. My name is David Newberry and I'm joined by my colleague Ian Barker. Hello Ian.
Hello David.
Ian, we are going to be looking at an activity that you in fact coached in a series with Championship Productions. This one's called Boppers. And we're going to change the format slightly today by including the video earlier on in the presentation and using quick tactics animations to illustrate. In the first sequence, let's talk briefly about the setup, and then we'll hand over to Ian to talk about methodology. As you will see, we have two teams, with each team having 4 players, 4 blues and 4 whites on the field. And then we have 4 additional players for each team playing in high positions. So the blue team are playing in this direction, and they have 4 players on the periphery, 2 high and 2 high and wide, that will act as support players. And each team also has a goalkeeper. The area is approximately 50 yards in length and approximately 30 yards in width, and you can adjust that, of course, for the age groups that you coach. A couple of rules, and I'm going to hand over to Ian to talk about the methods. The first is that we play with the rule of make it, take it, meaning if the white team score, then the white team goalie restarts immediately from their end, so they manage to retain possession. And then the other rule is the number of touches. We limit the peripheral players to play, and that could be anything from a couple of touches maybe to 3 touches, depend again on the ability of the players. Ian, let's talk about the methods.
Yeah, so kind of a nice little diagram here. We can see the goalkeeper is distributed to one of the interior 4. But I would suggest to the goalkeeper, the first place they might be looking is to play beyond a line, break a line, and possibly play to the outside players, because those 4 are essentially free. So if the goalkeeper could indeed do that, that would be great. Then I'd be looking at something. So for example, if the ball does end up here, can this player in possession see their outside options? In the case of this pass, the blue defender, the blue player is blocking that pass to the outside. In the case of playing here, we could argue that maybe my own 2 white players would intercept it. So what we want to be doing as the inside players is making sure that our boppers or our wide players are available. By the same token, we've got to remind those boppers or wide players to be continually shifting their positions into support of the goalkeeper or the players on the inside. This is a great game with a lot of high energy, a lot of good finishing, obviously a very significant numerical advantage in possession because you've got the 4 in the middle and the 4 on the outside. So it's technically an 8v4. And I play typically 2 3-minute sets. And then at the command of the coach, we switch on the fly. And if one of the teams is quicker in transition, switching on the fly, good luck to them. They can maybe get that goal quicker.
So yeah, now let's go to look at the video. It's about 6 minutes in length, and then we'll come back and look at sequences 2 and 3.
One of my favorite game-related activities is the Bopper game. This activity works with a 4 versus 4 in the middle of the field and players on the outside that act as rebound walls, crossing options and attacking options for the team in possession. This is an extremely fun game for all types of players.
It is a regular 4 versus 4 plus keepers in the middle. No restrictions, conditions on you. If your team scores, your goalkeeper will reintroduce the next ball. But yellows, you can use the Monrovian winger, your target players, or your wide player there for a 1 or 2 touch service back to your team. You guys cannot score 1-2 touch. Blue team, if you choose to play wide, end line wide, 1-2 touch back to you. So now if we can kick it out, wide or long, find the box. Don't run over and support these guys, see if we can fill the box. So offensively, try to move the ball, fill the box. Defensively, try to pick up runners. Don't get sucked to the ball, pick up the runners. Goalkeepers, you can organize a little bit. You want the ball? Yeah, okay. I get to decide. That's why I'm the coach. Okay. And he seems like a really nice lad.
He's nice.
He is. All right. And play. Let's go. You can go to the targets too. Yeah, kick it out, Hector. Kick it out. Good. We're gonna... Good. Well done. Hey, good job. Good job, Serbia. Well done. Great finish, Tom. Make it, take it. I say switch on the fly, 8 out, 8 in. Okay. Blue has the ball. Get wide and show for him. Get wide and show for him. Now, if your blues come to help you, you can play them, or if they bring the yellows in, you can try to go over them to the attacking options. Okay? So in here, guys, be aware, blues, that you're not taking away a passing channel to Hector, you're good. That you're not taking away the wide player, you're good. So we're all happy, right? If it goes there, maybe you support behind whilst other guys fill the box. So we can support the boppers, the wide guys, the long guys. We can support them, or we can find the box. Okay, ball with me. We're live and play. Let's go. Good. Support that. Support that. Make it, take. Good. Yeah, you need to get that ball, don't you? Jez doesn't like you. So here's a couple of ideas I'm looking for. Combinations using our target players. So Tom's here, I play there, I get behind him. The combination is a give and go with me, the ball carrier, and my wide guys. That's good. My wide guys and my long guys. The next level would be something like this. Hector, I want you to get across to get the ball from the wide guy. So take it out. So as I commit Tom, I play there, I drop out, and now it's the third player. So it's not the 1-2, it's the 1 to 2 to 3. So as we play now, boys, decide if you're going to get it back from the wide guy or the end guy, or if you're going to give it to them and create space for the next guy. Okay, ball to the keeper, let's play. Go on then. Good. Good choice.
So Ian, that was the video that relates to the game Boppers. So let's go now on to sequence 2 and talk about some of the situations we've seen in the video. The first being that we saw a combination that occurred, and you talked about it in the video, where we have a pass from the inside of the area to one of the high players on the periphery, and that's the player that made the original pass makes a run into the penalty area to receive the return ball, and in this case finish with a header. Let's talk about that particular situation and some of the methods that you used in the video to encourage players to move into the box as opposed to running towards the player they passed to on the outside.
Yeah, thanks, David. So, of course, width is a given in this activity. So you don't need to be demanding of the four players in the center to be getting wide as much as being aware of width and utilizing it. So in this particular case, if the ball is played from here out to the wide player, and then the runner runs on the blind side of defenders into an offensive position. So this isn't really a give and go. The person that played the ball out wide does indeed finish it in this case, but I wouldn't call that a give and go. But what I'm clear about here is this run behind these 1, 2, 3 blue defenders makes it very difficult to pick the player up, and the cross is going to be delivered. You know, if the ball was here, then maybe there's a pass out, and we could look to get in behind on a give and go type situation, more of a traditional give and go. But the notion here is supporting the wide players, supporting this player, but not necessarily by playing it to them and then moving in front of defenders, but quite the opposite, moving contrary to the movement of defenders and getting in on the weak side or the blind side.
And Ian, can you just, while we're on this diagram, talk a little bit about the roles of the very high players, those that are on the end line? Why would you have put them there?
Well, some people might argue it's a little bit false, but I quite like the notion that a player, let's say the player has the ball here where our first player had it, can play that long penetrating pass and then it's dropped back for a finish. Because if we play the ball all the way to the end and suggest that you can score if it bounces back off, what we actually get is forward movement by all of our players in support of the attack. If you play with that player in the field, sometimes the ball will go to them and then they'll be left alone because players will forget to support them. But when they're actually out the field, players have to remember to come and support because now there's going to be the opportunity to score off of them. So when I'm switching positions, I'd like my wide number 3, my number 11, my number 2, my number 7 to take up these positions. And then these positions, I'd like my strikers to take up, maybe my central midfielders. So the players are actually getting a little bit of a functional opportunity when they're outside of the game as much as when they're inside of it.
Oh, that's very good. And let's go now to the final sequence, sequence 3. And here you'll recognize that instead of playing long from the keeper to one of the high players on the periphery or even the strikers on the field, we now play a ball that's much a shorter pass, drawing out the defense of the blue team, allowing a longer pass, a penetrating pass to be made to the outside. And unlike before where the same player received the return pass, we do see now that the player that was in the number 2 position makes a forward run and receives a third man pass to finish. Ian.
Yeah, so I really like the idea here that we have these players running off the ball. So if you look at this player and you look at their starting positions, so they were deep of the play, they weren't necessarily going to receive the pass. And as soon as they saw the pass played out, now they made their runs into the box or their runs forward. So I like this run because it runs again to the center position, to a striking position, and it runs behind the blue defender. I like that run better than maybe this run in support where the field stays very narrow and the blue defenders can see that player. By the same token, this run here is on the weak side, away from blue players, as opposed to immediately running into the mess and perhaps getting lost in the confusion. So we see the pass, we see the receiver, but then we see these 2 movements off the ball, and then that third player is found, and in this case, obviously the strike to finish. So I like that notion of now layering in players off the ball, making intelligent movements, looking to unbalance defenders.
Well, thank you, Ian, for your time, and thank you, coaches, for joining us on this edition of Give and Go Live.